So now that's a small, quick version of how resentments, early experiences, early experiences that may seem insignificant. It could be from a school day, because I don't remember a lot about school days, but I remember the shit that hurt me. Okay. I can trace back my preformed rejection of people by being told how ugly I was in the third grade at the monkey bars. Girl called me ugly, kept me ugly for 30 years. You know how many people had to tell me I was cute and handsome to get over this little bitch telling me I was ugly in the third grade? And do you not know how many resentments I gathered since then against people before they could resent me? I rejected them before they could resent me because I already felt ugly. And it's these type of things that fester and grow and have branches that keep growing in my life. And I attach them to all kind of excuses about why people treat me the way they treat me and why life hasn't been fair to me. Okay. Half the battle is I don't feel good about being alive. So any fucking minutest thing is going to trigger me to feel what? Even worse. I'm already halfway to depression. Okay. I came out of childhood halfway to depression. Okay. If I don't get an understanding of what the hell I just been through, if I don't get somebody to help me understand what it means to be a Kirk or a young man or a young woman, I'm lost. I am lost because the trial and error curve is getting real slow. I ain't got too much learning curve left. I thought that learning curve getting real slight. Okay, I tried to lead into it. I couldn't even get around it faster. I had to hit every damn bump and bruise along the way. I feel like a cartoon character that's been thrown on the back of a truck. You know how that look? They just bouncing around and they get up and walk it off. No. I got bruises, intellectual, emotional scars from trying to figure out intellectual and emotional scars. I got traumatized trying to understand what traumatized me. As soon as I understood what traumatized me, I said, "What the fuck?" Because it was like, one of the questions was, well, what's a young man supposed to be like after he experiences XYZ? Okay, then what was I going to be like if I didn't experience XYZ? Well, god dang it, I don't even know what the original problem is no more. I'm so far away from what the original problem was. I couldn't begin to, I have to imagine and use symbols and meditation and relaxation to begin to tap into what could possibly be the core of where I could point to, almost drowning, being pushed out of a tree. I'm pretty sure that has something to do with my anxiety. I could point to gunshots and drive-bys in South Central Los Angeles. I could point to a lot of environments that were probably uh, anxiety triggering. So yeah, I got some suspects about why I may be so twisted in my mind, but those things account for how I'm responding to what I perceive to being done to me. Someone could be totally innocent in their interaction with me. But because of what I bring to the table, it may seem like a threat. It may not be so innocent. You know, I've been in trainings where totally innocent. That woman starts talking about multicultural sensitivity and African Americans and the plight of slavery and Jim Crow. And I'm like, what in the hell are you talking? I'm triggered. I'm triggered. Now, on a good note, I'm pretty good at understanding exactly what, within a certain amount of accuracy, what's troubling me, whether it's internal or external, whether somebody's really messing with me or I'm really messing with myself. So when I fight, it's usually I've concluded that it's not me. When I conclude that I've checked the boxes off with principle acting, being common and kind and generous and helpful, understanding, looked around the situation, checked the policies, the procedure, called in some friends, and I conclude that you just fucking with me, we got problems. But I'm gonna give you that time period of me making sure, and the situation may fade, and I'll let it fade if it fades. But if that situation's still there after I conclude that you just messing with me, I'm gonna confront my feelings. Any job I've been on, people know I'm gonna confront my feelings. I don't care if you're the owner, I don't care if you're the check writer. If you cross me, I don't care who you. I don't care if you're a deity. I don't care if you're the Pope. You cross. I don't give a freaking flying 47 about people's respect level. You're a man or a woman just like me. However, I digress. Is there a blue bottle in there that I can have? Resentments. So to get to something we could take away from talking about resentments, right? Something useful we could use for today to help us understand and make sense of how how we're perceiving today's um, events, and how the filter is the fucking problem. Today's events wouldn't be so bad had it not been for the filter I bring to life right now. I bring a filter of self-sabotage, low self-esteem, poor parental, poor child rearing, all the shit you want to bring up, poor nutrition. You know how much poor nutrition plays a part in our mental health? Insecure environments. How much does not feeling safe at the core ever play into interacting with people in a business world? What do I think about people in the business world? You know what? I don't even like talking about business. I'll be so happy for somebody to negotiate for me or talk on my behalf. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. I don't. So I had to learn what my emotions were, where they were coming from. You know what, and in that process of self-discovery, you learn what really makes you happy. People trying to be happy, they don't even know themselves. How can you be happy if you haven't discovered who you are? People conclude intelligence, but by not acknowledging ignorance. You can't. You have to go to the darkest resources of what you think you know to really understand what the fuck you don't know. And that starts with a journey inside. And it starts with a journey into those the low-hanging fruit of interpersonal skills is resentment. That's why it's a good place to start. It's something that's really emotional. You can touch it, you can recognize it. Some of the resentments are close. You can connect the dots a little bit better. But there's definitely other areas that you could focus on and grow in. But resentment seems to be one of the ones that you can kind of get the most bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time. It's just understanding that in a short sense, my behavior is fear based. I mean, that would be the simplest way to say it is when I'm triggered or fear something, when I'm triggered or experiencing anxiety or worry, automatically I go to the fear center of our brain. I mean, I don't want to get too neurological and all that kind of stuff, but do we go to the chemicals, the processes, and our body, our brain, our sensory, dare I say it, fingers, touch, taste, smell, is experiencing something that's triggering me to have a fear response. Then the question is, what am I afraid of? And usually I check for bleeding. Then I check to see if I'm on fire. If I'm not bleeding and on fire, then I check for warrants for my arrest. If I'm not bleeding on fire and a warrant for my arrest, then I go to the kids. Is any of my kids bleeding on fire or a warrant for their arrest? Are they safe? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Are they sick? Okay, if all the kids check off and I check out, I go to the loved ones. Where my boys, my girls, my people's at? Those close inner friends. And if I conclude that everybody in that circle is okay, then I'm pretty okay. Bills, child support, fuck problems. Them ain't problems. Those are logistical situations that emotionally you don't want to deal with because they're asking you not to be lazy and to persevere, gain some new information. I've been paying child support since I was 20 years old. I learned how to ask for a review. I learned if I ask for, I'm not going to tell you everything, but yeah, get this information. But I learned different ways to get my needs met. I had to read. I had to ask questions. They would tell me stuff when I was young, and I would just go, okay. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then I walk away feeling beat up. Yeah, I walk away feeling beat up by the system when all I had to do was read. The same information the caseworker has is in black and white. This is what we can and cannot do. This is your right. Who the fuck reads patient rights? You should. Go get in an argument with a pharmacist and see how far you get. They got principles they operating by. Sir, this policy, say another word, we'll get security because this policy gonna be upheld. Because you didn't read it or because you was absent-minded because your check was late or that ain't none of our fucking problem. We try to make our problem other people's problem. Be sympathetic to me. We always want to be somebody feel sorry for me. Poor me. Resentments are fear-based. What are you so afraid of? I'm afraid of not being something. I'm afraid of not living up to something. I'm afraid of being called this, looked at like this. That's image. So now you're fighting ghosts and demons. You're fighting the image. Trying to protect your image emotionally is the equivalent of, and I may get this all messed up, but I'm going to try this. Me trying to protect my image is saying, I'm going to try to influence, I wasn't going to say control, I'm going to try to influence what you're thinking about me while I'm thinking about what you're thinking when you're thinking about me. Who the fuck has the time and energy for that shit? And then we talk about, then the next thing they're going to say is, I keep it 100. I keep it real. Well, really tell me, I did some time in prison, and I concluded that a lot of people in prison is emotional dysregulation. I wouldn't say that they don't have a clue. It's seriously people in there to say, ain't no punk. What? He said something about my sister. Or, I mean, just the wildest excuses. The wildest. And a lot of them have resentments, unresolved issues, unconfronted feelings. To get to this point in my life, I've had to write letters, go to graveyards, cry, beg for forgiveness, do anything I could to get some type of relief from what I felt like I'd done, what was done to me. I had to learn how to forgive other people. I had to learn to, forgiving myself helped me be, you can't be compassionate without forgiving yourself. It is in forgiving yourself that you realize how fucked up shit is. People say they empathetic. If you haven't journeyed inside yourself and started to look at the ugliness that was created in you, not your fault, right? I wrote a whole master's degree paper on on how much power the environment has over our little brains. Okay, so all this shit ain't our fault, but guess what is the way we deal with it. That's something we can't control. We can be mad at our parents and who we was born to on this floating rock, who we had a chance, who brought us into this portal of life. We can resent them all that. Bottom line is, whatever feelings you got right now, whatever thoughts you got right now, the world is expecting you to be responsible for how you behave with those thoughts. I feel like $1 million, but what I got to do to get $1 million? I can't take the heat for that. They caught me, but I was a small time person. I was a small time criminal. I couldn't. Woo! $1 million, I'll just be broke. I'll just be broke. Anybody that gets comfortable and institutionalized and some of the places I've been, and think that that's now I can't judge. There's a lot of freedom from responsibility in jail. Your child support bill just gets higher. You ain't gonna pay it.
Now they cut it off.
Oh, look at that! Look at that shit there. My shit was $17,900 after just a couple of years. I paid every penny of it back. You want to hear some crazy shit? I paid back child support and some current child support while I had the children. There's court records to prove this. Lynchburg Juvenile Court records. There's a court case of a judge trying to figure out how to tell Richmond to leave me alone because I was doing a good job with these babies. That speaks for itself. There is a record of this conversation of the state of Virginia and a judge about how to forgive me for this debt so I could get on with these babies. So not a whole lot of people can tell me about how they not successful. Why you got babies? Oh, social services dropped 2 of them little motherfuckers off on me after I did 3.5 years in prison. I just started to do high school level English in a community college. Living in a house where my gas bill was about $700 a month. They gonna tell me about issues? Listen, I had a job, a hustle, community service. Okay. Hey man, I'm not the person to talk to about your fucking excuses about why you can't be successful. Tell that shit to your mama. She'll have sympathy for you. You come out of the real world and talk to somebody like me, I got you, bruh. I got you. I know that shit sucked when it happened. I know it hurt. Huh. Mm-hmm. You'll never find a happy ending in the middle of a story. You got to keep on living so you can see what the next page is going to be like. We was live for most of that. You can get notifications just now. I thought you was getting notifications. We was live for 17 minutes. I'm sorry. I had to get